Okay, Kim.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
Okay. Auf welchen Gesprächsverlauf hatten Sie denn gehofft?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and
Ach so.
not volunteer us to be her henchman.
Im Ernst? Und ich dachte, hier wäre alles erste Sahne.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Toll.
He doesn't let it show. But there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
Es tut mir leid, dass ich uns in diese Lage gebracht habe. Das werde ich schon wieder zurechtbiegen.
I'm sure you will, Detective.
Was schlagen Sie vor, dass wir diesem Drogenschmuggel nicht nachgehen?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union. Or that we are on their take. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching.
Das wäre eine Möglichkeit. Wir könnten auch einfach, meinen Ausweis finden.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
Ja,
You could request a new one from the station, but that would literally take months.
dann reden wir weiter mit ihr.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Okay, erzählen Sie mir von diesem angeblichen Drogenschmuggel.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samaran Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
Damit ich das richtig verstehe, die Rohstoffe gelangen durch die Verladestation aus Samara nach Revachol?
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
Und Sie wollen, dass wir der Sache auf den Grund gehen.
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
Was meinen Sie damit?
The lorries. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers, well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they are vulnerable. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
Sie wirft mir einen vielsagenden Blick zu.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance in bright daylight, upstream where it's clearer.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
You'll be indebted to her, in a way, but one step ahead of the Union in another.
Okay. Warum haben Sie sich nicht früher an die BMR gewandt?
We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
Ja, das
We know
stimmt.
the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
Es ist kein Zufall, dass die Lastwagen dort gestrandet sind, oder?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However,
Sie hält inne und blickt aufs Meer.
This is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue.
Sie blickt nach Norden.
Thousands of liters of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
A cold breath rushes in from the bay, making its way down the alleyways and potholed streets. From Martinez to Jamrock, in the traffic you hear the clinking of glass vials, concealed beneath tarpaulin. Or is it just your teeth chattering in the cold?
Ich schüttel das Gefühl ab.
The literage the local producers must get from this terminal alone must be oceanic.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Tract and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
Welche Beweise haben Sie dafür, dass die Gewerkschaft in die Sache verstrickt ist?
How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
Sie denken also, dass der Streik durch Drogenrohstoffe finanziert wird.
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
It sounds like she tried looking into it herself, though she's clearly not the type your typical lorryman would confide in.
Okay, also zu dem 4. sage ich nichts. Über die Schmuggelermittlungen nachgedacht. Was würde das jetzt bedeuten? Ehrlich gesagt möchte ich mit Ihnen erstmal über etwas anderes sprechen.
She simply nods.
Übrigens, ich habe mit Evra Claire gesprochen.
You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare?
Finally, time to choose sides.
Ehrlich gesagt nicht besonders.
Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have stayed in power all these years? Or wait, actually,
Sie beantwortet sich ihre Frage selbst.
corruption. That's how he's done it. Fantastic, worm-like corruption, reaching into the bowels of the earth.
Sie blickt zum Boden und nickt.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy. I hope you understand. The RCM does not pick sides.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt worm myself. How could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Ja, aber Tratschen mit dir ist gefährlich.
Tell her she'll like you for it.
Ja, aber Kim wird das nicht mögen.
Yes, your disgusting necktie agrees completely. Let's gossip.
Ehrlich gesagt möchte ich mit Ihnen erstmal über etwas anderes sprechen, wenn Sie nichts dagegen haben.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later down the road, don't be afraid to drop by for a chat.
Ja, vielleicht rede ich mal mit ihr allein oder so.
Until then, is there anything I can help you with?
Wissen Sie etwas über diese Tätowierungen? Ich zeige ihr das Foto.
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
Also wissen Sie etwas über die Tätowierungen?
Better not tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
Okay, blöder Ausweis. Sie scheinen mir klug zu sein. Ich brauche jemanden, der mir die ungeschminkte Wahrheit über diese Realität sagt, in der wir uns befinden.
This reality?
Sie zieht ihre Kapuze enger um ihren Hals. Es hat mit meinem medizinischen Problem zu tun. Selbst an die grundlegendsten Begriffe der Realität kann ich mich kaum erinnern.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Sie stellt ihren Thermobecher ab und sieht dich an.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
Okay.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Okay, dann mache ich das. Wo sind wir?
We're in Martinez, baby.
Und was ist Martinez?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Erzählen Sie mir mehr über Martinez.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
Sie haben ein Meer erwähnt. Was für ein Meer ist das?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
Befinden wir uns in der Nähe des Ozeans?
Yes, we are on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Vast, lukewarm and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight.
Wie lautet der Name dieser Insel?
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her.
Erzählen Sie mir von einem anderen, vielleicht noch grundlegenderen Aspekt der Realität.
I would be happy to.
Ach so.
What is a preposterously expensive education for, if not sharing?
Okay. In welchen Zeiten leben wir?
These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Zu spät wofür?
For the big time.
Ihre Augen beginnen zu glänzen. Ihr breites Lächeln enthüllt ihre Zähne.
The smile of a predator. No doubt what she's got in mind.
Was ist die große Zeit?
The revolution.
Aha, und was ist diese Revolution, von der ich immer wieder höre?
It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
Wem wurde in den Kopf geschossen?
Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed.
Haben die Kommunisten und die Anarchisten zurückgeschossen?
Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Wirklich ein Riesentheater,
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
murmelt der Lieutenant hinter seinen Notizen.
Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it.
Wurde sonst noch jemandem in den Kopf geschossen auf der gegnerischen Seite?
Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Kluger König.
Yes. King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down? Anyway, Gil got out alive and his nephew Frisell got shot in his place.
Ja, dann doch feige auch.
Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time.
Wer hat die Mineralrechte bekommen?
The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything.
Okay, und mit Liberale meinen Sie?
Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras or ultra-liberals. They fared well.
Wie haben die Liberalen es geschafft, alles zu gewinnen?
They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
Wenn alle erschossen worden waren, wem konnte man sich denn dann noch ergeben?
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights.
Moment, Sie haben doch gerade gesagt, die Liberalen hätten alles genommen.
The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people.
Wer ist die Koalition?
The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay, the armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
There is bitterness in her voice, tempered with understanding. She is critical, but ultimately understands the cause.
Moralisten?
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government.
The rulers of Revachol, and also the world. These guys are strong.
This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
Wenn es darum geht, immer die Option zu wählen, die einen zu nichts verpflichtet, dann bin ich absolut ein Moralist und auch wieder nicht.
An almost endearingly moralist standpoint. It must be hard to take a moderate approach to head shooting in your line of work.
Wann war dieses Riesentheater?
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Wer hat sie angezettelt?
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government.
Was hat es mit diesem Zerat auf sich?
It made people overthrow their governments.
Tatsächlich.
Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark.
Wohin hat sie sich dann ausgebreitet?
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end.
Und was kam danach?
Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
Unser Leben unterscheidet sich gewaltig.
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think.
Was ist die kontrollierte Zone?
A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune.
Was ist im Rest der Welt passiert?
Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-islary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
Wie lange geht das jetzt also schon so?
43 years. Hard to fathom, I know.
Was haben wir eigentlich die ganze Zeit über gemacht?
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell.
Und danach?
The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere.
Und war das auch so?
No. It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash, an Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And here we are.
Sie macht einen Knicks.
Welcome to reality, baby.
Ah. Okay. Was hätten Sie anders gemacht?
Good question. What would you have done differently?
No, her first.
Ich habe Sie gefragt, welche Rolle spielen Sie bei der ganzen Sache?
And I asked you, past-less detective of the citizens' militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you?
Here's some wisdom, lady. Say the death thing.
Nichts davon. Ich weiß nicht genau, was ich anders gemacht hätte.
And you would have died, most likely. Not far from here. Maybe even right here, during the beachhead, defending the coast the day the Coalition took the city.
The cold runs down your spine. She gestures toward the waters.
Vermutlich.
The wind stops. There is silence on the dark water of the Martinez Inlet. A dog barks. A gunshot echoes off the walls of some distant building.
No, almost certainly. The commune would have forced you. Such was the fate of the undecided.
Das reicht über die Zeiten.
They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.